everyone and welcome back. I'm back with a tutorial today for a necklace. I recently shared these Queen's Trellis earrings back here from the recent Eureka collection called the Queen's Garden, full of greens and golds, so beautiful. And it inspired me to also come up with this necklace which coordinates with the earrings, and I have also made it in another colorway in blue and silver, just to give you another example of what this could look like. Today we're going to be making something like this in the black and gold though, and those are just materials from my own stash. But if you'd like to make one of the green and gold ones, you can definitely pick up the Queen's Garden collection at Eureka Crystal Beads if they're still in stock, and that will have more than enough materials inside of that to make the necklace, plus the earrings and a whole lot more. So I will link that and the other materials you'll need today right down below the video as usual. You can see I've got everything laid out. We've got a lot of different things going on, from the 2-hole Ginkgo beads to the O beads. We've got some 3mm Czech fire polish, also some 4mm Drux or round pearls. And as far as seed beads go, we've got some 3mm bugles, some 11/0 rounds, and some 8/0 rounds. Besides that, we're going to just be using a couple of wire guards on either side of the necklace portion that we bead up. We're also going to need a lobster clasp, some jump rings, and a little bit of chain. So if you'd like to get started and make one of these necklaces along with me, you can go ahead and gather up your materials. Oh, and I'll also be using some fire line, some 6-pound, and a size 11 beading needle. So let me not forget to mention that. Go ahead and gather up your materials and string your needle with a comfortable length of beading thread, and we will jump into this tutorial. All right, so I have all the different beads actually laid out on my little bead board here. We're gonna start out with one of our Ginkgo beads, and we're gonna go through the left-hand hole of that one with the point facing up and bring this down. This time leave yourself more of a 6 to 8 inch tail, because then you can add a needle to that and add your wire guard on after we secure this first little group of beads. So I'm just gonna hold that in place, and after my Ginkgo is strung down a little bit, we can pick up one of our O beads, a bugle, an 11/0, and I'm using one of those colors. I've got 2 different colors of 11/0s. I'm gonna use the one that contrasts a little bit, but you can use either color you want. And then I'm gonna pick up a bugle and another O bead. So once you have those on your needle, just return through the open hole of the same Ginkgo, pull that down, make sure to leave that tail thread in place, but it's long enough for you to use a little bit. And then down here with my working thread coming out of this round portion, I'm going to pick up an 11/0 seed bead. This time I'm going to pick it up in the other color, an 8/0, and an 11/0. I'm going to return back up through the left-hand side of the Ginkgo bead. You can also go through the O bead at this point. Go ahead and pull that tight. Sew through the bugle bead. Skip the 11/0 there in the center and go through the next bugle bead. You want a nice point at that section. Continue stringing down the O bead and down the side of the Ginkgo bead. Go ahead and pull that on both sides, the working and the tail thread side. And your bead should be pretty secure at this point, so you can just keep working on your sequence in the chain. After we're coming out of the Ginkgo down here, I'm actually going to flip it like this, because our bugles are going to be sitting at the bottom of the necklace So it might be a little bit easier to orient that way. But right here, I'm going to pick up another gold seed bead. I'm going to pick up a fire polish, another gold seed bead, and we're ready for our next Ginkgo bead. So if you have some that are different on either side, you might want to just take a look and see how you're stringing them on. Otherwise, it won't matter. I'm going down the side of that one, and once that's in place, picking up another O bead. This time I'm going to pick up a gold 11-0, the 4mm round, and a gold 11-0. And with those on my needle, pull those down. I'm going to go up through the O bead on our previous Ginkgo section, also go up through the Ginkgo bead, start to pull these together, just like that, and then sew through the next 11-0, fire polish, and 11-0. Just keep pulling everything tight after each addition. Now we can go down through the same hole of our next Ginkgo bead plus the O bead. Pull tight. And right here we can pick up our bugle, an 11-0 in the other color, and another bugle. And we'll also pick up another O bead. Now we're going to go up through the other side, the open hole of our Ginkgo. Pull that in place, and then add in an 11-0, an 8-0, and an 11-0, just like we have over top of our other Ginkgo. So down through the left side, continue sewing through the O bead, sew through your next bugle. Once again, skip the 11-0 down there and sew through your next bugle, your next O bead, and up through the right-hand side of the Ginkgo. And you can help your seed bead out there in the center if you need to with your needle, and go ahead and pull everything tight once again. So that's the first sequence of this little beaded chain we're going to be making. And you'll keep repeating this type of pattern all the way around the length that you want to make this. You're welcome to make it a full necklace if you want to, or you can stop after just the front portion is completed. So let's keep going together. I'll show you how to continue this on a little bit. So again, we're coming out of the Ginkgo here on the right-hand side at the top. We're going to complete our next little fire polish section. So we can pick up an 11-0, a fire polish, and an 11-0. Then our next Ginkgo going down through what will be the left-hand side of that. And pulling that into place. And then we'll pick up our O bead, 11-0, 4mm, and 11-0. With those in place, we'll sew up through the previous O bead and that right-hand side of the Ginkgo. And then continue sewing through the 11-0, the 3mm, the 11-0, down through the left-hand side of the Ginkgo. And we're in place to add our next little bugle bead section. So right there, we're picking up our bugle, the other 11-0, the bugle, and an O bead. sewing up through the open hole of the ginkgo, and then adding that little seed bead section on top, 11-0, 8-0, 11-0, down through the left-hand side of our ginkgo, also going down through the O bead and the bugle, pulling this tight, skipping the 11-0, and then sewing up through the beads on the other side, the bugle, the O bead, and our ginkgo, and helping out that little seed bead to come at a point at the bottom. So at this point, you can back up the video, you can keep doing this and make this area as long as you want, and you can see it's also creating the slightest little curve right here, which is what you want. You don't want this to be in a straight line because that would be forming more of a bracelet, whereas we want this to have a light curve to it so it will form around the person's neck when it's worn, just like this. So I'm gonna count here and see how many I have for the necklace I made, which comes to be about 16 inches, and you're welcome to make the chain longer as well if you want to make your necklace longer just by increasing the length of the chain. I've got 17 ginkgo beads on mine, so I'm gonna go until I've got a total of 17 in a row added to my beadwork, and then at that point we'll come back and I'll show you how to finish up this necklace with a wire guard, and you'll pretty much do that the same way on both sides. So keep going, back up the video if you need to, and then I'll be back. All right, you guys, so welcome back, and check it out. I've got all of the ginkgo beads in place, and we've got our curved little collar portion of the necklace here. I did go ahead and add on the wire guard section with the tail threads, so you do that the exact same way. We're about to do that with the working thread, and I've just pulled my other wire guard and a few seed beads so we can finish up this side together. And this is from the point where you're coming out of the right-hand side of your ginkgo bead. So right here, what you can do is pick up 2 of your seed beads. I'm going with that gold color, so whatever color you went with at the top, pick up your wire guard and string those down, and then sew through the other side of the wire guard. Just holding that in place and letting that thread settle into that little groove section. Picking up 3 more seed beads. And then we can go down through that very last bugle bead. And you can see how that places the wire guard right there, exactly where we want, ready for adding on some chain. And to secure this thread, we can just sew through a few more beads. I'm skipping that 11-0 so it stays at that nice point that we created, going up through the circle and the ginkgo there. And I'm gonna go through these beads again right there. I'll probably make a little half hitch knot here to start, right after that 8-0. Just to start securing our thread right there at the end, and I'm going to sew through those next few seed beads. Be a good idea to go around that wire guard section 2 or 3 times just to make sure that's strengthened. I'm gonna go around there, traveling through the next couple of seed beads. And I'm going to make another knot right there in between the bugle and the seed bead that I'm coming out of. Just like that. Skipping that 11-0, going through that next bugle, and I'll go ahead and trim off my working thread at this point. And you can see how both of these sides match, which is what we want. Got my other section of chain, so we can add that on. All right, so I'm using some small jump rings. They're about a 4mm size. And I'm just gonna twist them open, grabbing both sides and doing that sort of a motion. Then I'm gonna grab that very last oval link on my chain. This is a very fine chain with little tiny ovals, but there's enough space to get that jump ring through. Might just take a couple tries. Then we can attach that jump ring directly to the wire guard and twist both of those sides of the jump ring together to close that up. We can add another jump ring to the back of the chain, and at that point you can also add a segment of larger chain or something to extend the length of that. And on the other side you can add your lobster clasp. And then your necklace is complete. So that wraps it up today for the Queen's Trellis necklace. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. As a reminder, you can find the link to this collection right down below at Eureka, and they have lots of other colors of all of these beads and materials. I'll also leave a detailed list down below of the materials used in this necklace line by line. And I brought back the other colors here so you can see those as examples of what this looks like done, both in that green and gold and also the blue and silver, things that I just had in my stash. So feel free to share with me on social media, tag me if you give this a try. I love checking out your completed designs from my tutorial videos, especially if you did them in other colors. Feel free to share those as well, or if you had any other twist or take on the design. Also, be sure to check out the coordinating earrings tutorial if you haven't already, that go along with these similar materials. You can make an entire set, so that's always fun. Be sure to give the video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Leave me a comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel because I hope to see you back soon. And until next time, I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day. And as always, happy beading.